Good day. I'm sitting here and I am contemplating the word brave. What does it mean to be brave? When I close my eyes and I think about bravery, I see images of knights and dragons and rescuing a princess from a tower. That's what came up for me. I don't know why, but maybe that's because I grew up on Disney movies and Sleeping Beauty was one of my sister's favorites. Bravery, facing things that seem dangerous, but facing them with courage, facing them with something bigger than us, propelling us into the unknown. I'm really working to not sing at this moment because I am one of those people who, when I hear a word or a phrase that reminds me of a song, I just want to sing it. Bravery takes us from the place of our comfort and it calls us into a space that is unknown, that can sometimes seem dark, can sometimes seem that we're going alone. But the calling that's on the other side of that darkness, of that expanse of fear and doubt and worry and am I enough? Or what if I'm wrong? The call that's on the other side is stronger than the thing that is in between us and it. And as I am contemplating on what it means to be brave, I always think about my life purpose, what I feel my life purpose is. I feel that I am here to help heal the social divide, one heart at a time. I believe that I'm here to speak oneness over humanity, over our world. I believe that I'm here to move towards co-creation, listening to all of the unique voices that are in the room, that are in this experience, not negating one of them, knowing that each has something to add to the grand picture of life. Unfortunately, this is not how we often engage in our world. We do not step into the uncomfortable darkness, the areas that are unknown. Bravery eludes us, and we stay in the places of comfort. We stay with the crowd. And when the crowd moves forward, then we feel a release to step out. But is that really bravery? There are things that I believe we as a humanity are experiencing because of our fear of the unknown, the fear of stepping out and listening to those who might be speaking something different. And sometimes there's a fear of us being one of those people and being on the outside. But if we truly want to create a world that works for us all, we each have to find that seed of bravery within us, that seed of courage. And we need to begin to do the things that we know deep down inside are calling us so that we can expand into greater versions of ourselves and we can reach higher heights and potential as a humanity. I want to challenge you to think about the things that you are seeing in our world, how are you standing with the crowd? How are you seeing and ignoring your sight, ignoring this beautiful gift of wisdom that you have been given, and you're hiding it or concealing it so that you can just belong? I talk about creating a culture of oneness. I talk about creating systems of equality, and I talk about creating a culture of belonging. And there's so many pieces to this puzzle, right? There's so many pieces to all of that because, first of all, we need to learn how to belong to ourselves. We need to learn how to accept the voice that is calling us, the things that we just know, the unique insight that we carry as a part of our unique being and our unique genius. We need to stop severing ourselves from that in order to feel a part of something. You're already a part of something. You're already a part of something. But are you bringing the gifts? Are you bringing your unique insight? I talk about people as if we are all a piece of a puzzle. I have 3 children. I have a 17-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And the 9 and the 6-year-old love puzzles, but they also love to not put them back properly. And so from time to time, they'll take out a puzzle that they're ready to put together, and they're on those high-level puzzles. Like they're on those 100 pieces, 300 pieces. And as they're putting it together, and they're coming to the close of the picture, they're realizing they don't have all the pieces, and they're not able to see this work of art clearly because there are pieces that are missing, that have been discarded, that haven't been considered as important. Think about people and our world and the challenges we face as a world as a puzzle, just like that. How many have we marginalized and ostracized because we just didn't understand how their perspective, how their insight, how their unique way of being and their expression fit into the grand picture. And so we discarded, we have ostracized, we have pushed to the side and lost so many people, so much insight that is really designed to help us. So how can we begin to look at this way of being, of not valuing individuals and their unique, diverse identities, their being? How can we begin to say, you know what, there's a conversation happening over here, and I don't understand it, but I know that it is a sign that there's something important that I need to gain from this. There's a lesson to be learned. There aren't people who are crazy or that aren't important, that have lost their grip on reality, in that when they are speaking something, when they are sharing a concern, it's something that we need to lean into, to be curious, not furious, not to reject or ostracize. I'm finding that even in spaces where we are talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and these are values, by the way, these are values. They aren't the end goal. Diversity happens in nature. Diversity is something that's natural. So when it's not happening, it means there's an imbalance, right? Equity is understanding that differences are beautiful, that they need to be seen and part of this experience. And so we have to make consideration for the differences that exist among us. We don't push them to the side. We consider them. Inclusion is accepting, acknowledging, and affirming differences, not just saying, yes, it's there. Acknowledging its presence and what it is bringing. And sometimes we can't even see because we are cut off. We are indifferent to the difference. And so we don't even know how to acknowledge it as being valid and sacred and important, and let alone affirm it. Learn how to celebrate it. Learn how to make sure that it is feeling safe, seen, and appreciated. We often take differences to be dangerous unless we're comfortable with them. And so we really need to learn how to apply this process of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and apply these values to our everyday interactions, not within certain boundaries, but everyday interaction. So when we see someone who is operating in a way that maybe we don't agree with, we don't understand, we have to begin to lean in and understand that they have a very real concern, and maybe they're not vocalizing it in a way that we can hear it, but we need to lean into that and understand what's not being said. We have to hear the unheard, see the unseen. Yes? And when we do this, we have an opportunity to see how this person's experience is important to our overall humanity experience. What do they need? What is their concern? And how does that concern relate to us? What values can we unite on? This is the work of creating a world that works for everyone. This is the work of equality. This is the work of inclusion. This is the work of allyship. This is how we show up in a way that makes sure that we are being better to and for one another. So we need to learn how to lean into that very important work. And I think it's really important that we take time regularly to look at our values. Look at, why are we doing this very important work? It is very important, but are we doing it from a disempowered place? A place that says, these people out here have done a thing and it hurts me, and so they need to change so that I will no longer be hurt. I know that feeling. I know being in that space and doing a very good work, but from a disempowered place, from a wounded place, from a traumatized place, a place of division where it's them versus me. When we can lean in and realize, one, we are in control of our emotions and our state. We are in control of our own healing. The belief that someone out there has power over us here. We have taken the lie, hook, line, and sinker that someone else is in control of us. Our power is equal and it is innate. It exists in our very being. And when we begin to believe that someone has more power than me, or that I have more power than someone else, now I'm operating from this very divisive state that separates us, that says that we are not equal as human beings. So it's really about understanding the values. Why are we doing this work? Looking at ourselves, seeing the places where we are unhealed, where we're still in a divisive division mindset. Where are we making an us and them? And doing the work to heal ourselves, to bring ourselves back to a place where we understand fundamentally that we are one. I think a lot of the world's problems can be solved if we take on these two beliefs, that if we anchor in these values, that there is enough and we are one, we will make different decisions about how we interact with one another. We will make decisions that honor our common experience. We will listen to the concerns of others and begin to see that whether they are sharing it in a way that is helpful or not, we will be able to lean in with curiosity and compassion and kindness, and we will see them as us and their needs as important to our shared experience. We are creating a shared experience here. We haven't, over the years that humanity has been in existence, we have not created a shared experience. We're just here bumping up against one another and looking at one another as separate and competition. It's that race mindset, that competition mindset, that division mindset that keeps us in contention with one another. And then we justify mistreating one another. We justify othering one another. And yes, we other one another. We have been othered and we other one another. And the sooner that we realize that we are not in the place of always being right, we are not always in the place of always doing the right thing. As soon as we understand that, we will begin to do that inner work that says, I want to be the change that I want to see in the world. I say this to my clients all of the time. At the end of the day, I can't do anything except change me. And when I change me, when I change how I interact with others, I am sending ripple effects throughout humanity. Change happens in our shared experience. And at the end of the day, we need to be doing the work so that we are a cooperative component to the world that we want to live in. That is what we're looking to be. That is how we create. This is how we become change agents for a world that works for us all. We must do it together. And I'm glad that you are here in this space. Reflect on this message about bravery. What's calling you now? Where are you being called into bravery? It may be being brave enough to look at yourself and the system of your behaviors. That I am going to be brave in how I show up when it comes to interacting with people who are different than me. I'm going to be brave enough to lean in and hear what's not being said and see what can't be seen. I'm going to be brave enough to model the world that I want to live in to others. And I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to wait until someone else does it. I'm going to show up and I'm going to be brave.